Endo's got his popsicle.
That popsicle.
Say it right, Peter.
Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Tougie Steak Podcast. We are back again. Special schedule this week because the boys are oh so kind and generous with their time to make their schedules work with mine, and I thank them for it. And boys, I'm sorry, especially Sin, that I had to make you wait an extra day to be able to talk about some playoff hockey, but we are going to talk
games.
We do. We're going to talk about everything that's happened. Every single series right now has played at least the first two games of their series, and we are going to talk about all of it here today. We're also going to get some viewer questions in, and we'll talk about two things that happened non-related to the Stanley Cup playoffs and kind of give our quick thoughts on that. But first and foremost, Endo, Popsicle Mills, how are you?
I'm good. I was actually going to head out to the gym and actually work out. But then you're like, hey, podcast is today. I'm like, oh, fuck, never mind. My gym, I found out, like, it's Planet Fitness. So, like, whatever. You can diss on it. They give you pizza every fucking first Monday of the month. But they have these, like, super weird, like, extra facility stuff. Like, they have a massage chair you can hang out on. And they have this, like, red light vitality thing you stand in for, like, 12 minutes. And, like, it's just a bunch of red lights around you. And it's supposed to, like, help with the rehabilitation process after, like, a big workout. So sometimes I'll just walk in there for, like, 15 minutes, go to that machine after, like, a big hockey game because it's 24 hours, and just walk back out, no issues, and they don't even say a word. I have a membership. Don't worry. I'm not just, like, sneaking in and just
ripping off Planet Fitness. Beautiful. Sin, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a nice gym session today, but then, I spent about 5 minutes outside, so allergies decided, fuck you. Even with my allergy medicine. God damn.
Oh, yeah, it's the worst.
Sucks here.
If it's not the heat in California that's going to kill you, it's going to be the allergies.
Yeah, it's always something.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be allergies in Finland and shit, too, but at least there's clean air and clean water.
Yeah, that's the big...
At least my allergies won't be getting aggravated by shit in the air.
Yeah.
Literal fecal matter.
So, okay, so I don't know what the hell it was. I'll talk about and actually here, you know what, really quickly, we'll go to the viewer questions. We'll mention, of course, as always, this podcast is brought to you by our lovely friends at manscaped.com, where you can go to, that is again, manscaped.com, and use the code Tougie, that's Tougie, for 20% off your order and free shipping. Manscaped, the best you can get, the pinnacle, the peak of men's grooming. Head to toe, they got you covered. Thank you again to our lovely friends at Manscaped. First question comes from our friend at Foresight Hogan. How'd my trip go? So for those who do not know, I took the long, arduous trek from Maine to New Hampshire. They're right next to one another. But I did get to go to my grandmother's house for the first time since before COVID.
Wow.
Man, I just, it's one of those things where I feel so fortunate, at 29 that I can still do that. And, at 83 years old, she is just as on it as ever. It was 2 days of my Italian grandmother just being like, food, here's food.
Yeah.
Love you, here's food. So it was...
Also, you're fucking 29, which tripped me out.
Yeah.
I remember when you were actually Tougie 24.
I know, right?
Holy fuck.
Like, it was 5 years ago that joke was like, oh, hey, he's actually Tougie 24 now. Are you going to change the number the whole time? It's fucking weird, man. Especially, too, with that birthday being in Finland, it didn't even feel like a birthday, right? It was just like I was focused on other things. So, but yeah, no, this trip was great. And just to have the ability to still go see her and it's great. They have the sweetest, calmest dog in the world. You saw her, Sin.
I did. I saw the picture.
I can't say it too loud because I'm back home, so Emmy might get mad. She might be the best dog. She's insane. Uh-oh. She was so upset when she realized me and my fiance were leaving. So upset. So we'll be going back in the summer for sure. It was just a great way to kind of relax and recharge the batteries.
I'm assuming they got that dog sometime during COVID then. Or have you met the dog before? Oh, have you met the dog before?
Once as a puppy. It had been even a couple of years before COVID that more recently before COVID, it was she would come up this way. It's just for whatever reason, scheduling, it didn't work out to be able to go visit her sooner. So it was just one of those things. I hadn't been to her house in years, and it's the same. You know, it's that feeling of you walk in and it's like, okay, some things are different. It's the same as you remember it, except now everything seems smaller. So just God, no, it was great. And then on the way back, we were able to stop. We had stayed at a hotel instead of doing one big travel session all in one deal. Stayed in a hotel though in a city where two of my best friends live. One's going to be my best man at my wedding. Another one's going to be a groomsman. Hadn't seen them in almost a year. So that was awesome to just spend time over dinner. Went back to the hotel. We had their swimming pool alone for the last 45 minutes before they closed. Like everything went our way this weekend. It was great. It's great. So I needed that. To the point of pollution in Finland. We're in New Hampshire. That's how this whole thing started, by the way. We're in New Hampshire, and there's this factory in the background, and it has like the gray smoke coming out of the stacks. But then another stack had like this green smoke, and I'm like, what the fuck is that going into the air?
Chemtrails.
I guess. Like, frog factory. I didn't even know how to explain it, but I'm just looking over it. I'm like, would I see that in Finland? I don't think I would. Just this green smoke shit going into the air, and I'm just like, that. It's just bummed me out.
Yeah. They got those two factory stacks in Finland, but I never really see anything coming out of it.
Yeah, right.
Besides white steam, it looks like.
Yeah. God
and the air is clean.
So for those playing podcast bingo at home for your favorite hockey broadcast, there's their free space. But the other free space would be Sin and I sharing our love of the greatest country on earth. Because how could we not? Let's get into a few more of these questions, because obviously we want a lot of this podcast to be playoff hockey talk, because it's so much easier now when it's just the playoffs to focus on the action instead of, well, this team's on game 62, but this team's already played 68 games. Question from Reds Rebels. What is the best Dairy Queen flavor?
What do you even mean by that? I've never been to a Dairy Queen, so is he talking about the thing?
I guess the ice cream.
The Blizzard?
That you can turn upside down and it doesn't fall out. That seems like the most unpleasant snack, by the way. Like, if it's hard and thick enough to not fall out, it doesn't seem like it'd be pleasant to eat. Is it a milkshake? Is it ice cream?
It's just a McFlurry. That's all it is. It's the same thing as a McFlurry.
All I know is it brings all the boys to the yard.
Yeah, I've literally never been to a Dairy Queen in my life.
Yeah, you're not missing it out.
I've seen people with Dairy Queen stuff. I guess the fries are okay, but the motherfuckers are like, you got to dip it in the milkshake. I'm like, that sounds awful. Why the fuck did you put a salty thing into a sweet thing? What is wrong with people?
You got to dip it in the milkshake. Smishing around a little bit. Get the flavor on the fry. Scrumptious.
Some people are going to be so offended by that. It's
good. I hope they lick my freaking taint.
I hope they lick my Blizzard. Is
your well cropped take from our friends.
You can it's fine, man. You won't run into anything because Manscaped helps me out.
Yeah,
there you go.
Promo code Tougie.
There you go. From AJ, how do you like your steak?
This depresses me.
We've went over this so many times.
We have.
Have we?
Medium rare for me.
Yeah, I can't eat steak anymore, but it was medium rare.
That's the way. If you have rare steaks, you're a terrible person.
No, I could still.
Well done steaks. Well done steaks. You're a terrible person.
Yeah, well done.
Oh, yeah.
Just, why would you take
medium
the flavor
rare,
out of it?
medium well? You're good.
No.
Yeah.
Anything
well
past
done.
medium is bad.
Fucking well done charred steak, like, buddy, what are you doing?
As long as it's not purple, enjoy that shit.
Oh yeah, blue. Yeah, as long as it's not blue, you're fine.
Yeah, as long as it's not blue or brown. Yeah,
as long as it's not still alive,
it's got to be pure pink in the center.
If that thing's not kicking me in the face, Bring the fork to my mouth. I ain't having it.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude, my sister likes it extraordinarily bloody, like craziness.
Fucking
I
vampire.
don't think it's actually blood. I think it's not blood.
Of course not. It's
yeah,
the juices,
but I know what you mean.
But
The juice.
they call it bloody because it's red juice.
Yeah.
Much like corn, it has the juice. From Pens, what is the craziest burger you've ever had?
Oh my god.
Well, on top of the bun, it had a miniature roller coaster. That was pretty cool.
I also can't really eat burgers anymore. Thank you guys.
Yeah,
reminding me of my
this for sin.
Yeah.
God.
Man, honestly though, there's this burger bar in the town I used to live in before the one I live in now. When I first moved to the Sacramento area, the best burgers I've ever had. Straight up, and I would always order them naked, aka without a bun. That's what they called it. It'd like come like on a bed of greens, and dude, it was like this thing with like 2 big ass stacks of burger meat, and then like caramelized onions, cheese, like an aioli, and fucking pork belly as well.
Fucking
and
aioli
mushrooms.
sauce.
Good God, it was so fucking good. That's probably, I guess, I don't know. I guess that's the best burger. The craziest one is the one I ran into when I was on tour with my band at the Heart Attack Grill. That shit, I'm not even going to go into it. It was fucking disgusting now that I think back to it. But when you're 20 years old, you got nothing to worry about.
Craziest burger I've ever had is Denny's because it didn't kill me.
If you get anything other than a grand slam at Denny's, you're fucking risking it. My dad got a steak and eggs there once. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, no, sorry. My sister got the steak and eggs, which was awful. My dad got fucking fish. I was like, you are stupid.
Tempting the gods.
Yeah, and then he had the gall to complain to the cooks. I'm like, of course it's going to be shit. You're at Denny's. The fuck you expecting good fish here for? Get a grand slam for $5. Probably 10 now, but get a grand slam for $5 and enjoy yourself.
It's like going to the beer store and buying water. What are you doing? Why would you do that?
God, it's beautiful. And did you have an answer, or are we moving on?
I did. I remember for my 19th birthday, my parents decided to
so 2 years ago,
attempt to give me cardiac arrest. What did you say?
I said so 2 years ago.
Yes. I forget that I'm 24. Oh man.
God.
Yeah, so 2 years ago when I was 19, we went to this place, Toronto, called Tougie Burgers. And during that time, I was at the peak fitness of my life, and it wasn't dying from my heart, literally trying to kill me. And this might have onset of it. And they had these burgers you can get. I think this was like the Hellcat burger. So it was like 2 patties, like 2 big giant fucking patties, some 3 layers of cheese, lettuce, like 4 stacks of bacon, aioli sauce, and I think there was like some onion rings in there too. I don't know how the fuck I finished that, and I don't know how the fuck I'm still alive, because it was like 5 Guys size of width. Like the girth on the burger was really wide.
The burger.
It was a girthy son bitch.
The burger.
The girth and the thickness. Fuck me.
Well, we have something for the early running
burger
episode.
Girth Burger. Welcome to the Girth Burger, home of the Girth Burger. Can I get your order?
Fuck yeah, hell. That's it should be. Why do they always make burgers tall? And I'm sure I've said this before, but every time anyone's like, let's make this burger bigger, they go tall. It's not how you eat a burger, man. Like, do people not understand? You have to
thick.
Yeah, make it wide.
Stack it. Just fucking widen.
Make it
like if you make it taller, when you're biting into it, you have to fucking unhook your jaw to open up the whole goddamn burger. Or if you have it flattened, like more wide, you can get more circumference and bite sides and pop around.
Yeah,
this is gonna be taken out.
Like I want to see this thing on the road with wide load signs. I don't want it to be on its own special route because it can't fit underneath the overpass because it's too tall. I want this bitch to take up 2 lanes.
That bitch
I saw 2 houses being delivered on the highway. That's why that was in mine. I saw 2 of those fucking things.
Those manufactured houses, man.
Yep.
No
They had the
basement.
fucking doors open and everything to air it out. It was genius.
Oh man, I remember seeing there was a show on TLC, the Learning Channel, that was just moving houses like that. And it was the first time I was familiar of people not having basements. Because like when the weather starts flying, the house is gone. You're gone. Like, jeez.
You're done.
You're done. Grow up.
From Bouncy McBoink Boink. If money was no issue and you knew for sure that everything was going to go perfectly well, including planning the event, friends, family, not going batshit crazy during the event, etc., give a rundown of your dream wedding. No.
Tougie, you're living it right now.
No.
That's a personal, private thing, sir. My dream wedding. I don't fucking know, because, I guess, and then I I arrive on the back of an elephant. Like, I'm not a dick. Like, I don't need anything special. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And then I say my vows and doves fly. Like,
how vain are you? This is a how vain are you question.
Right.
Honestly. Yeah, I want it to be like, I don't really have a dream, but I think this would be really fucking cool. My only dream is that it's with the right fucking person and the person who I want to grow old with, and I could just look into their eyes and fucking know for sure that like this is the best moment of my life. That's the dream. But if I was gonna have like a dope ass wedding, it'd be like in a fucking forest with torches, and it would literally be like everyone's dressed. Everyone's like dressed as fucking Vikings, and it'd be a pagan ceremony.
What else are walking on with smiles on their
goddamn pagan ceremony. I'm not even kidding.
Someone's playing a fucking lute.
Yeah, I want the goddamn cord around both of our hands.
God, just move to Finland already. Jesus. Most Finnish style fucking wedding I've ever heard of my life. Just I don't know.
The only thing's missing is the corpse paint there in the forest.
The officiant is Mr. Tumnus.
What? Fucking no. Officiant's Father Biaka.
There you go. Sure. Shout out to Mr. Tumnus.
I know who Mr. Tumnus is. I haven't seen Narnia, but I've seen epic movies, so I have a good enough idea of what he looks like.
Version. Jesus.
Oh man.
Have you seen any of those?
Did you know Kevin Hart was that dude who whipped himself?
No.
Yeah, Kevin Hart played that guy.
Have you seen any of those recently, like epic movie, date movie stuff like that? They've aged so badly.
Oh yeah. I'm sure, because they're all fucking pop culture references and terrible. The only funny part I still found of epic movie was the goddamn beginning when they were in Mutant High or whatever, and fucking Magneto. You know, Peter's too much of a pussy to defend himself. And he brings up the locker, slams it in his face. He does this fucking half smile. That's the only part that still makes me laugh. But yeah, when they got to the snakes on a plane reference, I'm like, oh my god.
Jump the shark 2 scenes into it.
Yeah.
Good sign. Ender, you got an answer for this, or are we moving on?
Well, fucking sin going on. It's like, I want to be with the right person. I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, oh fuck, am I with the right person now? Like, what the fuck's going on? No, I don't know, dude. Like,
I'm waiting for Paulina to listen to this podcast.
I'm waiting for the door to crash.
She's in the other room. She just got home, so it's the funny thing.
Now she's poisoning your food, you dumbass.
No, it's fine. I already ate. I'll just give it to the cat. I don't know, man. All I know is that if I were to have a perfect wedding, it would be insane because I have a giant ass family because of my heritage. Yeah, and because of my heritage and my people, they love to create extra family members. I will leave it at that. I think my grandma goes on a rant. She says she has like 8 grandkids and like 15 great grand. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like that's just on one side of the family. And then like I know at least with Paulina, I'm bringing like 3 people. 3 people, just her and her mom and her dad. So that's all I got to worry about. But yeah, I don't know.
And here I thought, like, you said inventing fan, and here's your 4th cousin Jim. It's just some guy that they fucking met at the Starbucks.
It's bad because one person who we call our aunt is actually our cousin, but we just call her aunt. Like it's too much to get into. I'm going to stop at that. I can
hear the
ridiculous.
banjos from here.
It's a crazy lineage.
From Scroopy Noopers, with the standings finally set, could you guys do a mock draft? Which teams, okay, so the idea of a mock draft. The issue with that essentially becomes it's better for a video than it is for a podcast.
Yeah.
Because essentially, the only way you can do a mock draft is unless it's Connor Bedard or Adam Fantilli, you more so... I mean, do you look at like, okay, well, I think this is the best forward based off of the stats in these other people's mock drafts? Or do you say, well, this team clearly needs a defenseman in their system more than anything?
And that would work better when the order's already set.
Yeah, it is at the high end for the lottery, but even then, it's not totally set until the lottery's done.
Yeah, the actual order, yeah.
Like, for example, like, say it's Chicago that picks 5th. It's like, well, Elite Prospects Consolidated Ratings has Zach Benson 5th. But say Chicago needs a high-end defensive prospect more than anyone else. Do you say that they're going to take Axel Sandin Pellikka, who's the next highest-rated defenseman, but he's projected 13th? Does the NHL kind of do that with extreme reaches? I guess somewhat. That's where it just gets to be a little bit difficult. There's a lot of research involved, stuff like that. So it is typically better set for more video content than it is like, oh, hey, in a podcast, who do you guys think goes here? Obviously, we'll debate, like, hey, do we see any kind of shock picks, top 5, top 10, once we get closer to it? From Niles, how much did the Vegas Golden Knights play into the idea of the Oakland Athletics moving to Vegas?
A lot, because the owners are fucking trash.
A lot.
Trash.
Yeah, so... confirmed this week, essentially, that the Oakland Athletics are all but moving to Vegas.
I need a new team because I'm not cheering for any team in Vegas.
Yeah.
Toronto.
This sucks.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, again, like, the Athletics are pretty well documented, like, historic team.
8-time world champions.
Yeah. And an
Where
owner.
did it go so wrong?
But their owner. That's where it went wrong.
I know. It sucks.
There is no denying that the instant success of the Vegas Golden Knights 100% enticed the Raiders to move. 100% enticed Oakland, the Athletics in this instance, to move. And it sucks for Oakland. I mean, again, like, your teams are just gone. Yeah. Within a decade, your teams are just gone. They're out of there.
Including the Warriors, by the way.
Yeah,
because they play in San Francisco now, essentially.
Yeah. So, Vegas was huge. Just the instant success of that team and how much the fan base took to them and still does up to this point. Huge factor. And yeah, it sucks for Athletics fans.
And I will point out something. The hate that A's fans have gotten is so similar to when it comes down to Arizona. Like, people are always like, you got to move the team because the fans don't care. But if it's Buffalo, they're sending a message. And, like, so fucking Washington Nationals, everyone's like, oh, yeah, they're sending a message to ownership by not showing up. But because the A's fans weren't showing up, like, we have more reason to send a message to ownership than literally any other team. Because they refuse to, if they have the money, they refuse to give the money to field a competitive team. So it's a cycle of every 5 years. We develop all these young guys. They get good. Maybe we make a wild card game. Maybe we make the first round. They're all gone. That's been the cycle since I've been alive for this franchise. I'm thinking back to the 2000s. Like, I honestly, can't remember too much of baseball besides that. Probably maybe times in the 80s where they were better, but still Ricky Henderson, guys like that. You think of I mean, yeah, that was like the end. 89 was the last World Series they won, I believe. So basically in my lifetime, I was born in 90, really started getting into baseball in the late 90s, early 2000s. And then that's when I started seeing it. Man, we had Giambi, Damon, Isringhausen, Tejada, Chavez, and then 1 year later, Damon's gone, Giambi's gone, Isringhausen's gone. We're able to hold on to Chavez long term. He was great. Tejada eventually moves on. Like, it's just, it sucks because you can't have a franchise player on a team like that because you end up gutting the rest of the team. So why would fans show up for that? And they're not bandwagons either. Why should they spend money when ownership doesn't? Why should they give ownership money when ownership doesn't care to field a competitive team and treat it like a business? And on one hand, yes, a team is a business, but you can't run it like that. You have to run it as a sports club because that's what it is.
And at the same time, demanding fans go to what is literally known as the worst stadium in the sport. I mean, has run down multiple times. Dugouts, clubhouses have flooded with fucking sewage. It's a shame, but kind of similar to like Stan Kroenke owning the Rams and moving them from St. Louis to chase the beauty of LA and the spotlight. It's like, no, I mean, hey, you won a World Series there, but people still view the Rams as like, yeah, LA is not a football city. So hey, I'm sure he'll move Oakland to Vegas. The Athletics might get a full rebrand. Who knows? And yeah, he'll win out. Like he'll do very, very well in this deal. The ownership group there. So fun. From Ripley, what is your favorite video game cover art of all time? For me, it's the Japanese cover of Ico. Ooh, favorite video game.
I've seen that one. It's pretty nice.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, especially now when you don't really see covers in the same way anymore.
Oh, you don't like Madden 19 where it's just a yellow background? Fuck.
Yeah, those ones sucked. I think my favorite sports one was NHL 13 or NHL 14 with the color explosion in the background kind of design that they had. I feel like 14's is a lot more cleaner.
Do you like Connor McDavid that doesn't look like Connor McDavid, just with his mouth agape?
It looks like fucking Cal Kestis from fucking Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
God, this is a tough one, man.
Need more time to think?
Maybe because I have to go really old school with this. It might be Warcraft 3: The Frozen Throne expansion. Because it had, like, it showed Prince Arthas, and, like, half of his face was Prince Arthas. The other half was after he turned and was influenced by, like, the Lich King and started to lead the undead forces. Like, that was so cool. Because you didn't fucking know what that meant. But you go into it like, what the hell is this? You know, there's, like, it was, at least I think that was a Frozen. No, that would have been, that would have been the first. I don't fucking remember now. I think that was just Warcraft 3 in general. I'm trying to remember all the campaigns. It's been a while. So, yeah, that might be one of them. Because that got me super, super hyped. I remember. I don't know, man. Like, there's so many games.
Yeah. I got one, though. My official all-time. This one right here. I'm going to drop it in the Zencaster chat. Bad box art Mega Man. Mega Man. Yeah. Goofy ass motherfucker Mega Man. Love it. Looks nothing like fucking Mega Man.
That Mega Man covers. I mean, that's all you have to say is bad Mega Man, and I think most people will know the cover. And if they don't, well, hey, you're a quick Google search away. God. It's Mega so Man. Tough. So tough because for me it's just more so like you tie it to like, okay, what's not actually the best, like what are you the most what are you the most nostalgic about? I might have to throw the Streets of Rage 2 cover out there for one reason in particular. Now this is a group shot of the four main characters kicking ass. There is Axel, who looks like every generic arcade beat 'em up option.
Yeah.
There's Skate in the background in his McDonald's colors, kicking a man in the face with this rollerblade.
Bro, he looks like he's in pain.
Yeah. God.
Like hunched over doing
Yeah. And then
with his rollerblades on. Holy shit.
yeah, you get Blaze, who just has her sweet 80s hair. And then the star of the show is the wrestler Max Thunder Hatchet, who has the dumbest fucking expression I've ever seen on a character's face in my life.
Oh man.
Oh god, it is so beautifully early 90s. I love it. So we'll go with that one. This one comes from Yosei. For Sin, have you been working on new music as of late? Sorry if it sounds like I'm putting pressure on you to release something. It's not that at all.
Oh, I'm putting pressure on myself to release stuff, but yeah, I have been working on some stuff, but not too much recording stuff, which I have been meaning to get back onto, but I got big life goals right now that are taking the front seat along with work stuff and things that actually bring in money. And unfortunately, music doesn't do that. It never will. I've accepted that. I do it for fun now. That just means that it takes a back seat to all this other stuff as I plan to move myself overseas, which is a trek. A lot of things have to kind of fall into place for that. But I'm going to play tons and tons of music there in Finland.
There you go. And from Crocodile Dundee's Nuts, top 3 all-time concerts you've attended. Mine are Rammstein. I guess it would be Heilung, I'm guessing, a pagan folk band from Germany, Denmark.
That's dope. I have to check them out.
I'll just go with my number one. I got to see Ghost in 2019. It was everything I wanted it to be. I was happy.
That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Top 3 all time. I get 3. This is nice. Probably seeing Avenged Sevenfold. Well, multiple times, cool. But the best one was probably at Taste of Chaos. It was at like San Jose State in this huge thing. That was incredible. Got 2. Who else? That I don't know if that might be my number 1, but this one's also really close. Just this last summer, after I got back from Finland in July, I got to see Dispatch, and I've been listening to them literally since like 2000 or 2002, and I've never seen them live. So getting to see them live after all these years, they've been active since the mid 90s. Like I saw them at this beautiful little outside venue, in like wine country, and god damn, they put on one of the best shows that I have ever seen. And for a third one, maybe I'm trying to think. This is the only one popping up. Maybe Metallica, because it's Metallica.
Not bad.
Not a bad list.
Yeah.
And no Mills.
Haven't gone to a lot of concerts, so I can remember the ones that I've been to that I remember. I was a kid. I was like 2, 3, 4 years old. I went with my parents to like a Lenny Kravitz Pink concert. I have no recollection of that, but that's like 2005. So like that's a long ass time ago. So yeah, so like 3 years ago. We get the joke. But I think the other 2 concerts that I went to were, I got to go to like a Fall Out Boy concert. It was weird because it was like for Wii Day. It was like Fall Out Boy, Downwood Webster. Who else was there? Headley before the allegations, and all that fun stuff. It was pretty
potentially
good.
During.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I think because it was like 2011, 2012. This Fall Out Boy just released their album, 2011. That was probably right during the allegations. Right. Thank you, Headley. And the last one was Nothing But Thieves. They toured with, I think it was Grandson and D-Mob Happy. It was pretty decent. I think the one thing that happened in the Nothing But Thieves one was someone tried to start a mosh pit at an all ages event in a small venue. and the band subsequently stopped the show, threw the guy out, and then like then the girl was with her dad, and they thought I started the whole thing. Meanwhile, this guy was bumping into me the whole entire night, and I had to go after him like, "You okay?" Like making sure you're good, because like her dad thought I was like an asshole. Yeah, so great concert experiences.
With that, everyone, we'll move on to some actual hockey. Thank you, as always, for the questions. Before we get to the playoffs, 2 quick notes. The Calgary Flames have moved on from GM Brad Treliving and promoted Don Maloney to interim GM. He is also now the president of hockey operations for the Calgary Flames. I don't know if this was quite the needle mover that Flames fans were hoping for. I mean, it might still happen, maybe. But Brad Treliving was the GM of this team for almost 9 years. It was time for a change, especially given the lack of accomplishment in said 9 years. So we'll see what happens there. Of course, I mentioned Don Maloney. He has been with the Calgary Flames since 2017. He has had the roles of vice president of hockey ops, senior vice president, and now again is the president of hockey ops and their interim general manager. So we'll see what happens there. And then the Women's Worlds happened with the U.S. women's team winning the gold medal. Gotta be honest, though, Jesus, the timing of this tournament was so damn unfortunate. It was essentially everything but the final was completely overshadowed by the start of the NHL playoffs.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Like, that's just the biggest takeaway from it. Of course, the gold medal game was awesome, and it is what it is. Hillary Knight's a star. But just the placement, not a way to maximize viewership and eyesight on something that deserves it.
I think the one thing that'll help them is that they keep it in the summer. I know it's kind of like out of season for them with the people who are playing pro hockey, the women who are playing pro. But last year, when they had it in the summer, granted it was because of COVID, but when they had it in the summer, they had the most viewership that it could have ever had. Because there was literally nothing else that could have interrupted it besides baseball. It was perfect time, and then just did not work out in their favor.
So with that, gentlemen, let's move on. Let's talk about some playoff hockey. We're going to kick things off with the series between the Carolina Hurricanes and the New York Islanders that sees the Hurricanes with a 2-0 series lead. Game 1, a 2-1 win for the Canes, a 2-point night for Brent Burns, and a great start to the series for him. And goaltender for the Hurricanes, stopping 25 of 26, Antti Ranta. Who would have thought that he would have been the game 1 starter over the likes of Freddie Anderson or even Peter Kochetkov from earlier this year when he got to that main roster and started doing well? For the Islanders from the game 1, their abysmal power play came back to haunt them again and literally had just one player with a point in that first game. That was Ryan Pulock, or Pollock, whatever you prefer, on a somewhat fluky goal. If you guys have anything to say about game 1 or anything like that, we'll do that structure-wise. You have anything to say, hey, let me know. Otherwise, I'll talk about game 2, then we'll talk about the series at large. Game number 2, a 4-3 win for the Hurricanes in overtime. They did blow a 2-0 series lead. Islanders went up 3-2, but they couldn't hold it.
You said 2-0 series lead. You mean a 2-goal lead?
Oh, 2-goal lead. Yeah, sorry if I said series lead. They might have blown a 2-0 series lead. I can see into the future. Somewhat controversial call, or no call, should I say, for high sticking that kind of led to the Jesper Fast overtime winner. There was quite a bit of debate about that one. For the Hurricanes, though, another 2-assist night for Brent Burns. He has had an insane start to the series. Ranta stopped 23 of 26, while Sorokin on the other side for the Islanders stopped 32 of 36. Biggest talking points coming out of this, from a general sense, for the Hurricanes. Great that they have a 2-0 series lead. They took another hit offensively. Teuvo Teravainen's going to miss at least the rest of the first round, probably longer, with a broken hand. You have to wonder how much longer they can survive while their depth continues to be tested. At the same time, pretty bad start to the series for the Islanders.
Yeah, I mean, at least one thing went as predicted. Like we said, both games decided by one goal. I'm pretty sure we were all kind of on board with that's how the series can go. And that's what makes it so hard to predict, because either team in those kind of situations can win it. Carolina has the upper hand so far, but a series doesn't start till the home team loses a game. So we'll see what the Islanders can respond with.
Very, very true. You also had Matt Martin taking a shot at Jordan Stahl, but in a general sense, I don't think we're going to talk too much about officiating because it's trash garbage across the board.
Yeah, but like,
tell you this, I mean, go ahead.
Just the man got teabagged. The man got like cross-checked, sat on, teabag, farted in his mouth kind of thing, just got back up, no call. Beautiful. Yes.
I missed. Was that in the Islanders game? Because I haven't been able to watch those.
Good. Yeah, it was.
Okay. Yeah. It's hard to watch every single fucking game, clearly.
Oh, yeah. It's hard to watch a Leaf game. Regrettably to that. Jesus.
Playoff hockey. Chances the Islanders come back? I mean, obviously they do have a shot, but I mean, 2-0 lead for the Hurricanes. Certainly not expected to see them below this. I mean, it would be pretty surprising at this stage.
Yeah.
It would be, especially considering the Islanders' special teams are atrocious.
Oh my God, they're so bad.
And you have to be able to score. It doesn't matter how good you play defense if you can't put the puck in the net. I know, Tougie, you and I are very familiar with that concept.
Oh boy, let's not get that going. Jesus H. Jesus H.
Oh boy.
But yeah, you gonna have to find ways to score. I mean, yes, the Islanders' depth the Carolina depth is quite thin. The Islanders' depth, scoring wise, is almost non-existent.
Hey, don't take shots at Hudson Fashing.
What a name!
I don't even know who that is. Sounds like a goddamn company in New York.
You're not wrong. The Boston Bruins and Florida Panthers 1-1 split through the first two games, with the Bruins taking game one by the score of 3-1, a 2-point night for Tyler Bertuzzi, which if he hadn't already endeared himself to Bruins fans, this sealed the deal for most people. Linus Ullmark stopped 31 of 32. For the Panthers, Matthew Tkachuk was the lone player with a point, scoring off of a garbage turnover from Dmitry Orlov along the half wall. My God, that was beer league at its finest. Alex Lyon stopping 26 of 29, including robbing Trent Frederick twice on two different cross creases, which was just, how'd that even happen? But the Panthers
elevate the puck.
Yeah, basically he couldn't elevate the puck to save his life. Good Frederick. Yeah. Game two, Panthers win 6-3. 2 goals apiece for each side in the second, and then Florida comes out and scores 4 goals in the third, including 2 goals from defenseman Brandon Montour. Alex Lyon stopped 34 of 37. Ullmark stopping just 24 of 29. I will say this, I doubt we see any goaltending changes. Like Ullmark should be the guy tonight in game number 3.
No. Boston as a team was so fucking sloppy in that second game.
Yes.
Absolutely atrocious at getting the puck out of their own end. Their breakouts, garbage. Passes, not crisp. And my God, like, it was just... You can't do that against a team like Florida who's that fast and feeds off that shit. Yes, they've abandoned the wild and free style that they had last season. They still got the skating to do that.
I don't know if they played a worse game this season. They might have, from a statistical standpoint, but given the platform, that was their worst game of the year. Terrible time for your worst game of the year.
Yeah, you score 3, you cannot give up those kind of chances to Florida again and again.
Yeah, and I mean, as expected, right? The series is chippy in terms of a positive term. Chippy is the best you could describe the series. At worst, you could call it dirty. I even wrote this in our little notes here. I will get hit with the, well, Boston's done this when I mention this next thing. But in terms of dirty, I mean, Ryan Lomberg has literally been accused of choking Trent Frederick. Frederick said as much, that he was being choked. But hey, it's the playoffs. It fucking is what it is. You know, anybody was like, it was the ref's fault that this happened. Like, no, it's just no. That's done. That said, the biggest news now heading into games 3 and 4 in Florida, Patrice Bergeron confirmed to not be back until at least game 5 when the series returns in Boston. From the looks of it, he played in game 82 in Montreal instead of resting and picked up an injury. From a normal standpoint, you could say, well, that's fucking stupid. Why the hell did he play? It wasn't worth the risk. It was in Montreal. There's word out there that his dad's going through what I will label some health issues. And this game meant a lot to Patrice Bergeron for him to be able to play, hopefully not the case, but potentially for the last time in front of his dad in a live setting. Anybody who's like, nope, they made the wrong trade. Fuck you. Fuck you. I know I would not trade a Stanley Cup for a moment like that with my dad. Not a shot in hell. Nor would I expect Patrice Bergeron to do so just because he's a professional athlete. He could have gotten hurt in any other game. Sure, the gamesmanship, oh, he shouldn't have played. Dude, I don't care. Like, legitimately, if it's like, oh, well, hey, the Bruins lost to Florida in round 1 because Patrice Bergeron never played because he got hurt, is what it is. I'm not going to say there will be people who, like, after all of this, if that's what happens, there will be people who go after Patrice fucking Bergeron of all people, as if he owes this fucking franchise or fan base a fucking thing.
He already did a hell of a lot by coming back on a bargain deal.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, what's one of the big reasons the Boston Bruins were able to have the best regular season of all time? Yeah, go ahead and check how much Patrice Bergeron and David Krejci are making this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. That's a huge part of the reason.
Man, what is it with Boston Bruins fans, not including you two, obviously you're exempt from this, and wanting to blame someone for wanting to do something?
Buckner. Bill Buckner.
Really?
That's a big part of the reason, is what it always goes back to.
Is that the owner? Who the fuck's Bill Buckner?
Bill Buckner is the Red Sox player who in the World Series back in 86 against the Mets had the ball go through his legs at first base.
Huh.
One of the most famous moments in sports history. And yeah, it might have happened before that, but this idea of, well, Boston's always going to lose and there's always going to be someone to blame. If it didn't start before that, it certainly started then with Bill Buckner. And the funny thing about that is he is blamed for single-handedly costing the Red Sox the 1986 World Series. His error was in Game 6. They still went back and lost Game 7. But everyone just blames him and solely him, literally to the point where it wasn't until the last few years of his life, he passed away in 2019, it wasn't until the last few years of his life that the fan base was like, okay, yeah, we've won like 3-4 World Series now. Yeah, you're fine, Bill. It's cool. Yeah, it's just a thing in all sports, but Jesus Christ, especially in Boston, even with the most recent success of the last 20 years now, that still, it comes down to, well, if they lost, there's got to be a scapegoat for it every time.
Yeah, they jumped on Tuukka Rask multiple times, especially when he took time away for his family.
That's exactly what I was trying to say too. Like, what's it with Boston Bruins and like someone says, hey, my family comes forward to this sport that I get paid to play millions. Like, I'm sorry. If I was in a situation, I'd do the same shit too. My fucking father has an illness. I'm going to go see my father over playing a sport.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey's always going to be there, but your parents and your relatives aren't.
It's a lack of empathy and entitlement from people. They expect that you are there for them. Yeah. And like they expect because you make this money, it's also, well, yeah, like they think because you make this money, you should do that requires you to do all these things. But then those same people turn around. Anyway, doesn't matter. But yeah, that's the reason. Simple as that.
And I mean, you mentioned the Tuukka Rask thing, and that still pisses me off endlessly to this day. In the bubble playoffs, and he goes home because he hears that one of his daughters was sick. And people are like, oh, he has no heart. Like, it's a fucking Eagle game. And like, Jesus fucking Christ. Some people
it always goes back to heart.
Yeah,
some
when
people
I saw
are just...
Yeah, I saw Bullet for my Valentine at that Taste of Chaos with fucking Avenged Sevenfold. They didn't have their bassist there because his daughter was sick and he went back
What a
to
piece
take
of
care
shit.
of her. Yeah, and like they had their sound guy like playing with them and he was stoked as shit. And like, but yeah, it's like that's the right thing to do in any situation. It doesn't matter if you're a professional. There are things that are more important than your profession. And that is a very American mentality that's only growing worse, especially now. In the days
Yeah,
of
it goes back to work above family and how
Mhm.
that's been instilled, especially like you said in the U.S.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yep, yes it is. The Dallas Stars and the Minnesota Wild. Actually, unless you guys had any other thoughts on the Bruins Panthers series, but I mean, yeah, as expected,
No,
like it hasn't been a walkover.
No, like
I was gonna say Trent Frederick got put in the fucking headlock in the middle of the ice.
Yeah,
and then people are saying like, "Oh, he's such a pussy." It's like, I was about to say an expletive, but I'm not going to. Yeah, where the fuck are you gonna get put into a headlock in hockey? Never. You punch with your fists. Someone goes down, or you both go down. Then you take your 5 minutes and go in the fucking penalty box. When are we now gonna start playing fucking MMA on ice? Are we gonna have guys Superman punch each other? Well, they already have that.
They
We can have
probably do
guys
that
doing
in
fucking
Russia.
BJJ,
MMA.
just pop on their backs and just just like the best way to attack the approach of guys play good defense. Like ridiculous. They're probably in Russia. I would not be surprised. I mean, considering some of the things that the teams do, like on ice, like the Amor Khabarovsk Amor team, they bring out a fucking tiger on the ice. I'm not even joking. They bring out a fucking tiger. I asked Pauline if that's legit. She's like, yeah, they bring out tiger and go on ice. I'm like, that's fucked. That's just fucked.
It sure is. Dallas and Minnesota also in a 1-1 split. Soda!
Sorry.
The Wild win game 1 3-2 in double overtime, highlighted by Brock Faber, who has less than a dozen pro games played at this stage. He made a diving effort to get his blade on a puck before Mason Marchment could tuck it into an empty net in that double overtime. And shout out to Sam Steele, Ducks legend. 2-point night for him. Philip Gustafsson stopped 51 of 53.
Should have been better.
Should have been.
Should have rolled.
Been.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ. We'll get to that.
People who are, I had to do it. What the fuck?
Get to that. 51 of 53 for Gustafsson. Ottinger 45 of 48. So a great goaltending duel. Unfortunately, the prime moment of this game that people are focused on, the injury to Joe Pavelski, suffered a concussion, confirmed will not play in Game 3 tonight. No follow-up suspension for Matt Dumba, who was given a roughing minor on the hit.
That's gross. It's not like it's an interference penalty for one. It's so fucking late after he gets rid of that puck. If you watch it in real time or watch it like in slow motion, it's incredibly late. There's no reason for that hit. And there's a concussion. And once again, it doesn't matter if you make direct head contact for there to be concussion. There is whiplash, which is one of the main causes, and hitting your head on the ice.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, if
both happened.
And both happened. Yeah. It's kind of nuts that there was no supplemental discipline, especially after they changed it from a major to a minor.
Mm-hmm.
Like they usually take that into account. That is incredibly gross that there was not at least a game for that, because people saying clean, a late hit by definition is not clean. It was still given a penalty by definition. It's not clean. Yeah. Like it's interference at the minimum.
Yep. I can't disagree with any of this. Obviously hoping for the best for Joe Pavelski, and hopefully we see him back in the series and back to 100%. Of course, that is the most important aspect to all of this. Game 2, the Stars win 7-3 to tie the series.
Shit on.
4-point night for Miro Heiskanen, and a 4-point night, including a hat trick for Rupe Hintz. 23 of 26 stopped from Ottinger. Whereas for Minnesota, stopping 24 of 31 was Marc-Andre Fleury. Philip Gustafson stopped 51 of 53 in game 1 in a win. And you still went with the rotation that you had in the regular season and brought in Marc-Andre Fleury in game 2, and you got fucking shit on.
They had that graphic, though. You can't waste a good graphic. Respect the contract employees. 17 straight appearances. Good job, Mark.
Peter DeBoer, put a quarter in your ass. You done played yourself.
Yeah.
You overthought it, and you cost your team a game. End of.
Wait.
You blew it.
Peter DeBoer's coaching in Minnesota?
Or no, excuse me, not Peter DeBoer. I was trying to think of Minnesota's coach. Whoops. Peter DeBoer, you're just fine. Don't worry about it. You're doing great. Dean Evison. Dean Evison.
Strays.
I was like, wait a second.
The pride of Flin Flon. Hey, you cannot tell me that outside, if this was not season 1 for Dallas, that's a fair complaint about Peter DeBoer.
Yeah.
But because it's season 1, I'm not allowed to say it. But any other season, I'd be fine. We know how this goes. Yeah, Minnesota, you fucking blew it. Like, it's just, and again, Gustafson's expected back for game 3. No shit.
Marc-Andre Fleury better not be back for game 4. Sorry. Especially if Gustafson has another good performance. I don't know why you're still rotating like that. Who rotates in the playoffs?
I think that might have been like
bad teams.
Exhaustion thing, maybe. I don't know. But like, I can't see it's exhaustion, but you can't. You got to run the hot hand.
I mean, if they were running 1-to-1 for each game at the end of the season, I highly doubt it's exhaustion.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah. I don't know. I can't believe that. So, yeah. Gustafson's back in for game 3 tonight, and we'll see if Minnesota blew it in terms of really opening the door for Dallas to kind of get that foothold in the series. Because, man, if we were talking about Minnesota being up 2-0 and Philip Gustafson getting 2 straight wins and carrying that momentum that he had in the regular season, all of a sudden you're starting to worry about Dallas and kind of what the rest of this kind of series moving forward could be. But now all of a sudden it's like, no, Dallas is going to be feeling pretty good about themselves. So we'll see what happens tonight in that third game. And the other third game being played tonight is between Edmonton and Los Angeles. They also have a 1-1 series split. The Kings taking game 1 4-3 in overtime, with Anze Kopitar scoring 17 seconds left in regulation, a 4-point night for him. Goaltender Jonas Korpisalo stopping 37 of 40, while the Oilers blew a 3-1 lead in that game despite 2 goals from Leon Draisaitl. Stuart Skinner stopped 31 of 35. The most Edmonton way to start this series. You had home fans throwing stuff on the ice after the OT winner for the Kings. Like, oof. But then game 2 happened. Game 2 happens. They win it 4-2 to the Oilers. They had a 2-0 lead in this game. Blew it. LA tied it at 2. But they survived this time. Draisaitl off of the 2 goals in game 1 had a 3-point night with game 2, a goal and 2 assists, while Skinner stopped 22 of 24. Korpisalo 33 of 36. For the Kings, the biggest takeaway, number 1, you got to win on the road to start the series, and playoff Korpisalo is real.
And this
guy clutch.
They have been limiting McDavid a lot. The problem is there's Draisaitl there. But they have done a really, really good job of slowing McDavid down, not letting him get to his speed, forcing mistakes out of him in his own end. It's been good tactics by LA. They're not going to be able to do it the whole time. To get that first win and guarantee the split on the road was huge for them.
Completely agree.
Can't do anything wrong with that.
I'm intrigued to see kind of what the response is from the Oilers tonight on the road, because, man, they go down 2-1 in this series. Like, a lot of people are expecting this to be a quick one, and even if you do survive this series, you kind of want the idea of like, yeah, we're the Oilers. We're going to run up the score on you because our offense is amazing. You kind of want that positive aura surrounding you. Not so much, just not so much when it comes to the idea of, oh, cool, we're beatable heading into round number 2.
Yeah, it's a big series, big testing point for LA because Edmonton's had the firepower all year round, and with LA basically trying to slow down a demon, like they've done it with McDavid so far, and then now that Draisaitl is also, I want to say he's becoming a threat, but he's getting a lot more opportunities from what I've seen compared to last season. He's still dominant, but he's developed into basically, I want to say like maybe a slower McDavid. Like with McDavid, you have the speed and he's able to outskate everybody. Like in game 1, McDavid single-handedly went through an entire goddamn team and still didn't score. With Leon Draisaitl, he doesn't have that same speed, but he has almost the same craftiness and playmaking ability. And I think what they're going to do with Edmonton is going to probably look to see match them up and have them playing together more often because they'll be trying to focus more on McDavid instead of having Draisaitl on there. Because remember, they're not on the same line. Right. Like I recall, they don't play on the same line except for the power play. So if you're in a clutch situation and you have to put both those players together on the same line, and then they're going to focus more on McDavid and they have to focus on Draisaitl, something's going to give.
We shall see what happens in the rest of that series. We have the 4 others to quickly go through here. Vegas and Winnipeg, surprise, surprise, a 1-1 split. The Jets taking game 1, 5-1. 3-point night for Blake Wheeler with a goal and 2 assists. Connor Hellebuck stopping just 16 of 17. Brossois 26 of 30 for Vegas. Obviously for this game, Vegas just didn't show up. Only 17 shots on goal. And the real highlight of it, Jets forward Morgan Barron taking a skate to the face, getting 75 stitches, and returning to the game with a full cage.
Yeah.
Playoff hockey. At least he had a cage on. Jesus.
Yeah.
Some guys would have been like, I don't need that damn cage. Just get me back out there. And it's like, no. That's not the right thing for you, sir. But a pretty crazy moment nonetheless for Morgan Barron. The Knights did bounce back last night, winning game 2, 5-2. They scored 3 in the third period to win it. 3-point night for Mark Stone with 2 goals and an assist. Brossois stopped 31 of 33, with Hellebuck stopping 34 of 39. So obviously a much better offensive game for Vegas. And again, Sim, when you had to step away briefly, Endo was kind of talking about, or Endo and I were kind of talking about, like, okay, for Edmonton, McDavid hasn't been the huge impact yet. And, you kind of want that illusion of, illusion or not, you want that aura of like, yeah, we're a tough team to beat. Edmonton's already looked shaky against LA, and Vegas looked very shaky in that first game against Winnipeg.
Yes, good. I hope they fold like a cheap suit.
I did have a feeling that would be the primary response. It's just, Vegas kind of sucked in that game. Good.
Yeah.
Continue to be bad. Good. Be terrible.
I hope Winnipeg's whiteout just fucking gives them no energy. I hope Winnipeg gets up 3-1.
Could happen. It could happen. Don't really have too much else to add about this particular series. Just intrigued to see how it plays out. But until then, just kind of a wait and see. I'm intrigued to see if Vegas sticks with Brossois the entire way. Based off of game 2, they should. But who knows? Maybe they pull a Minnesota and just change it up for no particular reason and shoot themselves in the foot. And certainly hoping for that. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, the other main series I've been watching.
Jesus. Now, I have never seen such contentiousness towards officials before a puck even dropped in a series like I had seen Leafs fans airing their grievances. Turns out Festivus is in April. like right before the Leafs series starts. My God. And that first game went as bad for the Leafs as it possibly could have, losing 7-1. 3-point nights for Kucherov and Perry. 28 saves for Vasilevsky in a win for the Lightning. For the Leafs, the only highlight was Mitch Marner. He had a point on all 3 Leafs goals. Samsonov was pulled at the end of the second period. 23 saves, 6 goals against. And then this game, as if it wasn't bad enough to get booed off your own home ice for laying an egg in game 1, Michael Bunting suspended for 3 games after a headshot. A pretty big suspension for someone without a history.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have nothing else to say except that he's garnered he has no history of suspensions, but he's garnered a reputation in the league. And I guess they're just trying to set an example. Actually, you know what? You'd think they'd be wanting to set an example. But then the Pavelski hit, right? And that was the day before.
Was it the day before or the day after?
That was the day before, because Leafs played game 1
right.
Before.
Right.
So then the Pavelski hit happened, nothing happened. And I guess maybe the Bunting ones to set an example and saying, you know what, we're not going to tolerate hits like this. And then, there was nothing there to Matt Dumba.
The Bunting one is specifically to say, we don't like you, fuck you, Michael Bunting.
Yeah.
That's the Bunting one.
Probably, kind of. He draws a lot of penalties, though. So it's not like the refs are completely out to get him. He draws, I think, the most penalties in the NHL. If I could be wrong, he's at least top 3. This was the stupidest thing on earth. He already drew a pretty soft call on the same person that he hit later. I don't understand this logic from the dude. He's an irrational and an emotional player, but that gets him into so much fucking trouble. This was stupid. Absolutely stupid. It's away from the play, but close enough to where the refs are fucking looking. You elevate into his head when he doesn't have the puck. All you have to do is get body position. You're faster than him. Get body position and box him out and go into the corner like you should. Instead, he, again, elevates up, shoulder into head, in the face.
All I heard
away from the play. What?
Hi, I'm Michael Bunting, and all I heard you say was headshot him? Okay.
Head?
Yeah.
It was just such a stupid play. And yeah, 3 games is probably a bit much, but at the same time, that was again, I think all the factors with it being direct head contact away from the play with someone who he had already had a bit of an altercation with earlier. Just so stupid.
Yep.
Okay, I just want to look at something really quickly here about Michael Bunting. I said look at his elite prospects profile. So right now he's making $950K as a captain in the NHL. Take a wild guess how much he would make if he was playing down in the minors.
$200,000.
1.15 million. He would get paid more money if he were to play for. Yeah.
How does that work?
I guess it might have been in an agreement clause because the AHL has no cap hit. So if you have a player on an AHL contract, the NHL still the NHL team will still pay their salary out just to count towards their cap hit. So it was basically if a freak accident happens and he goes down playing in the A, he gets fucking paid. Which means that he may be. He might actually be eligible to get slid down to play with the Marlies for their cup run if the Leafs get knocked out. That's interesting.
Is he on a 2-way? Because
he's on a 2-way.
Oh wait,
yeah.
It doesn't matter in the playoffs anyway.
Yeah. Actually, it would. It would. 2-way players in the offseason can't get. 1-way players in the offseason can't get sent down. They have to play for their top club, or else they have to go through waivers.
Oh, okay. So if the playoff end, if Toronto season ended, then you couldn't just send. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it has to be a guy in a 2-way contract, and I don't think waivers wouldn't work for them. So yeah, it's just 2-way contract. You can go down and up willy nilly. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know in the playoffs, players on 1-way contracts, if their season's not over, can be sent down without going through waivers. Correct?
No, I can't.
Really?
It's a 1-way deal because they're only on the one team.
Mm.
I didn't think there were waiver claims in the playoffs.
Yeah, there are no waiver claims, but you just can't get sent down because you're only signed to play with that one team. If you are in a one-way deal and you get sent down to go play in the two, there's a waiver claim.
Speaking of two, game number 2, right as it looked like the sky was falling for the Leafs, they come back, couple of lineup changes, and they smash Tampa 7-2. The final score, a 4-point night for Morgan Rielly, tying a Leafs franchise record for defenders, points amongst defenders in a single game. A 3-point night again for Mitch Marner, a hat trick for John Tavares. On the flip side for Tampa, obviously the stats are all brutal. Vasi gives up all 7 goals, finishes with an 811 save percentage. Patrick Maroon racking up 14 penalty minutes. What the hell happens next was the only thing that I could kind of write for this, because 2 blowouts to start this series. For Tampa, you're still feeling pretty good. You won a game on the road to kick off the series. That's
when
the
your
goal
road
at the very
record
least.
was atrocious in the season too.
Yeah, it's very true. Yeah, their road record was not good at all. Very, very good at home, though. So that's the question. Like, what the hell is going to happen in Game 3 on Saturday night? I do not know. I will be watching. The series so far has lived up to the hype. Like, the on-ice has been entertaining, and social media has been hilarious.
Yes. I will say Matthew Nyes. He got put in the box for knocking someone's stick away, but it should have been for tapping his fucking stick on the ice, demanding the puck on the power play.
You mentioned that on Twitter, like a fucking drop-in player.
Dude, he was. It was just like on the power play. It's like they have like 6 goals already. He's like,
oh, nice, yeah, gave us right in front. Oh my god,
God, dude, kid. I know his parents were there and all that, but holy shit.
Yep, just right in front. It's like.
It was like Justin Bieber demanding the puck from Connor McDavid when the net was empty.
Amazing.
Oh, man.
There has been another high-scoring series, but only for one team. The New York Rangers have a 2-0 series lead on the New Jersey Devils, winning both games on the road to kick off this series. They won Game 1 by the score of 5-1 with 4 assists for Adam Fox, 2 goals for Chris Kreider, and Igor Shesterkin stopping 27 of 28. Meanwhile, Jack Hughes was the only Devils player with a point in that first game. Vitek Vanacek stopping just 18 of 22. Game 2, Rangers win 5-1. Same score line. A 3-point night for Patrick Kane, including a highlight reel goal. 2 more assists for Adam Fox. 2 more goals for Chris Kreider. Shesterkin stopping 22 of 23, while Vanacek stops just 25 of 30. Pure domination by the Rangers so far, including in the stands, as Rangers fans snatched up the more affordable road tickets to have what felt like a 75-25 Ranger fan split in the stands for these games. It's insane.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned, I think, in our last episode, was how Rangers travel very well when it comes to New Jersey.
Yeah.
That's the way. God, I mean, this was the perfect start to a series for the Devils. Or for the Rangers, excuse me. And now for the Devils, I was going to say, because I was reading that next question, what did the Devils do in goal is the big thing everyone's talking about, and rightfully so, because Vitek Vanacek was their guy in the regular season. He comes over from the Caps. It's like, okay, is he really good enough? Posts a career-high 9-1-1 in 52 games, a 2.45 goals against average. But obviously now in the playoffs, that GAA is at 4.5 through 2 games with an 827 save percentage.
Woof. They have to. You have to go to someone else. That's just unacceptable.
Yeah.
Yes, your offense didn't produce, but guess what? This sends a message to them like, hey, we're changing this guy, but you guys got to give some fucking goal support, because they were awful. They scored 2 goals the entire series so far. And in that game, too, they scored the first goal. They get that first goal and then disappear.
Nothing.
And the Rangers absolutely dominate. And then Shesterkin. So yes, the Rangers offense does look good, but knowing you have Shesterkin back there, and while your defensive depth isn't the best, you do have some really good top end talent, and you have Igor Shesterkin. So
yeah. And I mean, the other two options for the Devils are the goalie who they thought was going to be the guy for them in the form of Mackenzie Blackwood, who in the regular season put up an .893 save percentage and a 3.2 goals against average. And then there's another guy, and no, it's not Jonathan Bernier. It's Akira Schmidt. I think it's Schmid because he's Swiss. We're going to go with Akira. 18 games played, a 2.13 goals against average, and a 9.22 save percentage. Say hello to your game 3 starter. Has to be. Absolutely has to be. I mean, I get it. You don't want to, throw Vanacek under the bus, but it's so much easier. Okay, lack of scoring and goaltending. You can kind of change the lack of scoring by getting some different people into the lineup, but the goaltending struggles, like, that just comes down to, like, hey, we got another guy. Let's give him a shot here and see what happens. So I would be pretty shocked to see Vanacek. Then again, Game 3, Madison Square Garden, almost a must-win, because if the Devils go down 3-0, that's it. That's it.
That's why I'm thinking Blackwood, simply because he has more experience.
Yeah, do you want to throw a 22-year-old goaltender who only has 24 career NHL games played? Do you want to throw him into that situation?
Because if he gets lit up,
break as it gets.
Yeah, if he gets lit up, dude, like, he could lose it. He could get the yips. Like,
yeah,
it's 22, man. That's super early for a goaltender.
He might be their best option, but yeah, I mean, that's a situation where you just have to think, like,
yeah.
okay,
well, they put themselves in the situation, so
that they did. So I'm very intrigued to see what the Rangers do for Game 3. Again, at the time of recording, I haven't heard as far as, like, what their plan is in net, but Rangers are looking damn good. Damn good. The Devils are also looking very damn bad. So.
Yeah. Poor Timo.
Yeah. Oh, God. Oh, gee, imagine, though. Like, he gets swept by the Rangers. Timo Meier just walks.
I hope he does. That'd be fucking awesome.
I mean, he is an RFA, but the qualifying offer is a lot, if I'm not mistaken.
10 or 11.
Yeah.
Well, or maybe just
10
9,
or 11.
but I know it's really high.
Let's see. And the final series, a 1-1 split between the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche and the team that's in their first ever playoff series, the Seattle Kraken. And the Kraken started off the series hot. They won that first game 3-1 on the road. Philip Grubauer, 34 of 35 stopped against his former club. Georgiev on the other side with a .900 save percentage. And then for Colorado, they did get the big bounce back in Game 2. Winning 3-2, they were down 2-0 in a game that the Kraken locker room might live to regret for a long time. You know,
they're gonna
a great chance there.
Yeah, on the road. Fuck, man, how do you blow that?
Yeah. Georgiev stopped 27 of 29. Grubauer was great even in the loss. 38 of 41. Tried his damnedest. Highlight of the game for me was the Evan Rodriguez hit, where he just kind of I don't know if you guys saw that, but he just kind of launched the guy off his feet. It was I haven't seen too many hits like that, but it was a pretty sweet highlight, just the way, I forget who he hit on that particular play, but very visually satisfying collision, as I think Sin's looking it up right now.
Yeah.
But regardless.
Oh,
that's
dope.
There you go. There's the reaction we were waiting for.
There you go.
Regardless, a great start to this series for the Kraken. One could argue they very well disappointed themselves by not being up 2-0 in this series, but a very competitive matchup so far, which is good to see. You know, it's not Seattle. Like, here they are, they're in the playoffs for the first time, and they just get the freaking doors blown off and swept out. It's nice that they've had a good showing for themselves so far. So, a very, Very nice. And boys, that does it. The first few nights of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Time of recording, we're not all that far away from the next night of action kicking off. Bruins play tonight. I'm excited.
Bruins!
Hopefully emphasis on the moons, because they go down 2-0 to Florida, man. It's gonna look a little bit scary. Just a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited. And we'll be back next week at our normal time. We should be back on the old Mondays and Thursdays to continue to follow along. That said, in the meantime, Endo Mills, what do you got going on? It's every week you got something new. What's it this week?
I'm gonna go mosey on down to the my Planet Fitness and go stand in that red booth again, and just for another 12 minutes, just to rejuvenate my bones and my skin.
Don't get locked out again.
Yeah, it was scary. The lights turned off, and everything went spooky.
Sin,
bring your keys.
What do you got going on?
Nothing too special. That's about it. I'll announce something when I have it.
Hey, there you go. Well, with that, everybody, thank you very much for watching, listening. I'll be back to the streaming world, if not Friday night, because I'm tired. Probably on the weekend, we'll get back to some Bay-Ball.
You sure?
Lord knows I need to put out a new roster update for NHL. That end of season update. I don't know if you guys, they fucking EA, you sons of bitches, putting out a roster update.
3 days.
Fucking Luke Hughes plays 2 NHL games. You make him a fucking 80.
That's crazy, dude. Like
Evan Levi, 80.
All of those guys should have been like 77 overall at most.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've asked the question of, so what's the rationale for this? Hopefully I get an answer. It's open. With that, everybody, thank you. Again, we love you, and we will see you all next week. Enjoy the hockey.